So lesson 24. Should be really easy. All we're doing is finding the x-intercepts again. We've already done that for the last 2 units. If I look at, well, what I want you to do right now is discuss in your group these 2 methods. Pause this. Which way is easier? Well, if I'm finding the x-intercepts, I would think that this way would be the easiest because it's in factored form. And really all you're doing is taking the opposite of those 2 numbers. Vertex form, you can still do it, but you have to add this to the other side, take the square root of both sides, and then solve. Now, is it too hard? No. So what you're supposed to do on these next ones is you are supposed to work with a partner, and each one of them is solving it. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video. So hopefully you did number 2 and they came out to be the same answer. Number 3 came out to this. Number 4, sorry, my handwriting is atrocious. Come out to something like this. Next, number 5. Now some people ask me on this one how to do this. Add the 1 to the other side, divide both sides by 4, take the square root. When I take the square root of both sides, I get the positive and negative 1/2. Now right now, I want you to pause it, look over this, and look for what is different in this exercise than it was in the numbers 2 through 5, sorry. Pause the video. Hopefully you noticed it's the first time that we don't have a perfect square. Okay, this is not a perfect square, so you have to actually simplify your radicals. Hopefully you remember how to do that. Okay. I apologize for my cough. We are on page 234 now, and I somehow am missing my page 234. Oh no, it's under here. Okay, right here. So here we go. And there's a reason that I want to do this. So Kenja really likes the vertex form, but she ran into the problem right here. Okay, what's the problem? Well, right now it's not really in vertex form, but does that really matter? No, because when I do my x-intercepts, aren't I just making 0 be put in for y? So 0 minus 10 equals x minus 1 all squared. So that part's not bad. Are you running into another problem? I think I might run into another problem. Okay, so it's going good so far, but if I go to take the square root of both sides of the equal sign, I think that we have not been taught how to do this. So anytime it comes out that there is a negative square root, that means that there is no x-intercept. Okay, how can I know that? Well, if I had put this in vertex form, y equals x minus 1 all squared plus 10. If I had done that, I know my vertex is 1, 10. And I'm just going to draw 1, 10, and it's going to be up here somewhere. And it's opening upwards. Guys, is it ever going to hit the y or the x-axis? No. So there's no x-intercept. So look at this one and discuss in your group this one. So hopefully you notice it's not hitting the x-axis either. So there's no x-intercept. That means we can't put it in a factored form. If I put it in vertex form, we're going to have negative because it's going upside down. And then it's going to be x plus 1 all squared minus 1. Now if you want me to solve that, I can plug in 0 here, and I add that over, but I have to divide by that negative. And when I divide by that negative, if I take the square root, oops, sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't see that. If I take the square root of both sides, aren't I going to end up with a negative square root of a negative number again? And we don't know how to deal with that yet. So again, this is going to be no x-intercept, so that means no factored form. So I want you to discuss with, or I want you to write an equation that has no x-intercepts, exchange your equation with a partner, and prove that there are no x-intercepts. Pause. Now boys and girls, when you did this, the very easiest way to do this is figure out what your I know that's horrible. Figure out what your vertex point is. If it's above the y-axis and it's going up, it's not going to have any y-intercept or x-intercepts. Same thing here. If you have a negative one, make your vertex point below the x-axis and it will never have x-intercepts. Okay. Now, I want you to go over to page 236, and I want you to do numbers 13, 16, and 19. Pause the video. So if I look at number 13, you plug in 0 for the y, separate it, and get your x-intercepts. Here, plug in 0 for y. Add 50 to the other side, divide by 2, take the square root of both sides, and get this. But if you try and do this, what are the factors? You know, it's really hard to see that. I'm going to write it here. Y equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 4. So if I was going to do the x method, or I was going to do the box method, or I was going to do whichever form, my AC value is 8. My B value is 4. Are there any factors of 8, that would be 1 and 8, 2 and 4, that add to 4? No. So how are we going to figure this out? Well, the easiest way to figure this out is to do what we just did in lesson 23. Take out the 2, and I get x squared plus 2x plus blank plus 4 minus blank. So what is half of 2? 1. 1 squared is 1. I have a 2 there, so I get y equals 2 parentheses x plus 1 all squared plus 2. Then make this 0. 2 parentheses x plus 1 all squared plus 2. Subtract 2. Subtract 2. Why did I say that a second time? I divide by 2. I get negative 1 is equal to x plus 1 all squared. If I take the square root of both sides, are we going to have an x-intercept? No, we're not. Okay, so your lesson, that's the meat of your lesson. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, let me know.